Hi, my name is Christina Matchai. I'm a life and business coach and psychotherapist. You can find more about me at coachingwithchristina.com.
And my name is Stephen Ingram. I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, and you can find more about me at stepheningram.com.
And this is the first video that we're doing in a three-part series on manifesting and mindfulness that we want to share with you, some information that we have.
So I'd like to start, and I'll give you a little bit about my experience before we get into the thick of what we're going to offer you in this video. I like to say that, I started this practice when I was a child because as a child I loved to be out in nature and to climb the trees and to, search for all the animals running around. And so I really, during my childhood, found that sense of connection. But as I grew older and realized, hey, there's actually something to this, is when I really got interested in yoga and meditation. And so that's why I teach today. And so I would like to discuss the practice of mindfulness and why it's important. So if you didn't watch our survey video, the practice of mindfulness is about being present on a moment-to-moment basis in a non-judgmental way. So often we get caught up in those negative thoughts in our mind, and it's okay that we have a negative thought, but the question is, are we allowing those storylines to continue in our mind, or can we really be present with them and just let them be rather than reacting to them or being in reaction to them as we often are? And mindfulness, let me say that mindfulness is not by any means a quick fix. So often our culture, our Western culture especially, is looking for that pill that's going to allow us to lose weight or allow us to live more healthfully or allow us to get those negative thoughts out of our mind. And let me tell you, we can't shut off our mind, unfortunately, but what we can do is learn to be present with what is going on in our mind. And as we get in touch with the present moment on a moment-to-moment basis, we really begin touching the truth of the moment. So for instance, right now I can feel my heart beating, I can hear the birds chirping. So that's one example of the truth of the moment. So as we can do that on a moment-to-moment basis, over time, that allows us to get more deeply in touch with what we actually desire and what we want to manifest in our lives, which is the whole purpose of this course.
Absolutely.
And so, before Christina talks to you specifically about manifesting, let me talk about the science of mindfulness, because, wow, there is so much that could be said on this topic, and there's so much more details that I will go into specifically about the science of mindfulness, but I'd just like to offer you a little bit here. So mindfulness is really one of the things that science is finding is so often we live in that fight or flight mode that, and we get anxious, and because of that we get anxious, we get depressed, because we're always searching for something outside of ourselves to change our experience. So that puts us in that fight or flight mode. But what research is showing is that when you can be mindful of your breath and use these mindfulness practices such as meditation or yoga, tai chi, any of these contemplative practices, that they induce the relaxation response in our body. And that's so important because we're all so stressed out and we don't need to be. So when we can learn this practice and just be present with ourselves, we see these amazing results in our lives, and really this ease of being begins to manifest. So when we can be at ease and relax, we really can begin manifesting what we truly desire. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
So I'll let Christina talk to you about the manifestation piece.
Sure. So I've been working with manifesting ever since I was in about 7th grade. I started by reading a book about crystals, and I used to do meditation and visualization with crystals. And then I found a book on creative visualization when I was in college and started doing that specifically without the crystals. And then I started learning about the law of attraction. So I've been using manifestation for many years, and I've manifested some really cool things. And I went on to get a master's degree in psychology, and I noticed during my studies that a lot of what I was learning was really similar to the manifestation process. One of the techniques used in psychotherapy nowadays is cognitive behavioral therapy. And it's basically the idea of being very mindful, noticing our thoughts, and noticing, our thoughts are sometimes based on core beliefs that aren't really helpful. And we get to a point where we start noticing these thoughts and we can reframe them and change them. And the practice of doing this actually can be life-changing. Noticing these little thoughts and changing them one by one, changing our habits. It's basically the same thing that we're doing in the manifesting process. So I want to share with you some scientific research behind the concept of manifesting, because I really want you to understand that this is not just some new age, fluffy, esoteric kind of practice. This is real, practical, scientifically sound information. So the first thing that I want to share with you is a study that was done by a psychologist named Richard Wiseman. He studies luck, and basically determined through his studies that luck is an attitude that we have. He did a study where he gave several people a newspaper, and inside the newspaper were photographs. He asked them each to count the photographs in the newspaper. And then in the newspaper, in really large font, it said, "Stop counting now and collect some money." Now, there were a couple of people that noticed that and were able to stop the task, and save themselves a lot of work and collect money. But there were also people that didn't notice. They just kept right on counting, not even noticing the opportunity that was in front of them. And it turns out that these attitudes and abilities to notice opportunities are what make us lucky or unlucky in life. And that's a big part of the manifesting process. Noticing opportunities, having the mindset that you're expecting good things to happen to you. Another study that, actually there's a couple of studies about the use of creative visualization. Most of them are done in athletes, and these studies show that athletes that use creative visualization in addition to practicing their sport had statistically significantly higher results, meaning that they were doing better at their sport. In one study, they gained higher muscle mass than athletes that just practiced their sport and did not do the creative visualization. So really powerful stuff. The one idea that I want to leave you with, which is actually the crux of what we're teaching here today, is that our brains may function like quantum computers. I know that sounds a little weird, but what I mean by that is a quantum computer basically functions this way. It sets up a question, which is like setting up an intention if you want to manifest something, and that question matches up with whatever data around it is a match. So basically everything else falls away, whatever is a match stays. When you think about it, if our brains work that way, that's how the law of attraction works, right? When you hear it described, we put out a question, an intention, and we get back whatever closest to us matches that. So theoretically, we should be able to manifest exactly what we desire instantly. And when we do, sometimes it looks like a synchronicity, but it's not always the case, right? I'm sure that we've all tried manifesting something and it took time or it didn't work right away. We're going to be sharing with you in the upcoming videos some ways to deal with that. It doesn't mean that there's a lost cause. There could be things to explore here. There are other approaches, but we're going to be addressing what to do when manifesting doesn't come instantly. So stay tuned.
Thank you all for listening. Have an awesome day.
Oh wait, and leave a comment, please. Leave a comment about this video. If you have a specific question for us based on what we talked about today, or what we're going to be talking about in the future videos, like if you're having trouble manifesting something, or if you have a question about mindfulness, please leave a question for us. We love your questions, and we want to answer them specifically.
Yeah, so as you all can tell, we're so excited about this, and really, seriously, if you have a question, do not hesitate to ask us, because we are both so passionate about this topic, and we want to share this with you, and we want you to begin to learn how to manifest things that you truly desire in your life.
So leave a question or comment below.
Awesome. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening.
Bye.